Anna Wolf here. Welcome back to Anna Wolf in the Cabin. Today's episode is called The Woman Trapped in Her Brain. So, what does real change mean? In this episode, we're taking a look at various ways we can navigate change and perhaps even put it into practical tactics for a new path to be carved. So, here we go. Let's go inside the cabin. Change means something different to each one of us. I have very often been asked, what does change mean to me? And this can, of course, vary. Change in the context of trying out new things depends. New restaurants depends. Going out on a Friday night instead of staying in as my usual depends. They are the common things in life, the day-to-day experiences. But when we talk about deep change, such as sickness, divorce, changing of jobs, moving homes, being separated from loved ones, then, well, this sinks in deep. This kind of change is often referred to as transformation. When change occurs, there is always the lingering of dabbling in and out of the change, from being okay to clinging on what the was. But deep transformation can only take place when the brain is steadily rewiring itself to new pathways. There are many great neuroscientists talking about this, and one of my favorites is Dr. Joe Dispenza. How the brain wires and fires at different rates and frequencies. And it's here where we can learn that one can only discover transformation, real change, when your brain realizes that it's not alone in the quest for change. And that is, of course, a journey and a practice on its own. Why are we scared of change? Well, sometimes I too can see where I need to go in order to make a lifelong change, but I don't necessarily go for it. And when this occurs, I am forced to invite the discomfort. Well, what does this mean exactly? Well, it goes something like this. I am uncomfortable, so then I say no to whatever is being proposed. No is often my trauma response. I say no to the same thing a few times. Then I reach a point where I see that my no isn't freeing me. In fact, it's capturing me in a jail cell. The walls just get higher, and eventually I can't see my guard, any pair of keys to give me out of this sort of situation. Well, then the work starts. Why am I afraid to let love in? This question, or whatever question is posed at the time, sets off an array of situations where I get confronted with the answers, but I don't even see the answers. I just think it's the same dismissal of failed opportunities, confirming my insecurities, or creating distance between me and the fellow human beings. However, the more I pose the question, speaking them out loud, the more I get shown. In the Bible, King Solomon asks for wisdom, so God grants him wisdom by giving him countless opportunities to discover wisdom. God grants another disciple patience by offering him countless opportunities to become more patient, setting him in scenarios where his patience is tested and his energy is often found exhausted. Well, this is the same thing. We all have our paths, and sometimes these journeys are set up to strengthen our weaknesses in order to break them into small pieces, just to begin again. We all fall into our opportunities for change. For example, alcohol, gambling, hate, addiction, escape, the want and need to opt out of this thing called life. It gets more and more real. Taking out life insurance on someone when you see that there is no hope and that the other's health is deteriorating strengthens their yearning for it all to come to an end. And perhaps that's what you subconsciously want. Need. Yes, I'm referring to an acquaintance that has actually done this exact thing. It's sad, and at the same time, these are the only tools that they might have. When someone dies, we think that in order to hold on to the love that once was, we must continue to suffer in the loss. I recall not eating for months on end after my divorce, punishing myself for ending a marriage. Marriage to me meant sacred, forever, a bonding like no other, and yet my faithful heart made the call to end it. So I punished myself. I kept my belly empty. I was not worthy to feel full. So I would drink, party, and seek attention wherever I could find it. And these were my tools. We try and find solace in the empty and in the sadness of the loss, because how dare we move on without them? We are extensions of our family, so when the other dies, our umbilical cord is still very much attached to the ones who pass over. And now we are faced with the journey of navigating the loss in the 3D flesh-driven world. This is where the crossover happens. The moments of whisper from our loved ones, the signs, the birds, the goosebumps, the feeling of their presence, and yet thinking that it's our imagination, when I know that it's not. I've heard many people say that the loss of a loved one is so great that the brain goes into a state of desperation, clinging onto anything that could make sense of the death, therefore looking for reasons to find signs. But this is of course not the case. I've been shown numerous times that when people cross over, the other side is merely a different realm, a place where our souls dwell, a place some of us can even dream of. Change is the unknown, and it's inevitable. We were taught from a very young age that certain tools would be ingrained to keep us safe. These tools served for many years, and it helped us. But what if you could get to a point where you make a list of the tools that used to serve you, and then the new tools that have now been placed upon you? The old versus the new you. When I was a child, growing up in a religious home, I was taught that saying swear words was a sin, and that if I lied, I would go to hell. And now, I have come to understand that one may choose to do these things, but it's all about the understanding and intentions that are set. Everything is intention. Everything carries weight. Energy. This is all that matters. I'm not saying you can go on and lie as long as you have good intentions, but you can practice a way of living where you no longer need to lie. Everything is energy, and we all have the ability to choose. Sin is so much more than just thinking of words. Sin can be living a life of making oneself small, overeating to fill a void, escapism. Sin is not always seen with the naked eye, but it is your soul that feels the vibration of the loss inside your stories. So what if I told you that you can make a change? If I gave you the option now to forgive yourself for living a life of being too afraid of change, would you take it? Here's an exercise, one that I do often, and it's called the release technique. I want you to be in your space that you are now, and if you're driving, rather try this when you're at home. Place your hand on your heart. Think of the thing you want to change. Ask yourself, is this thing that I so desperately want to change a worry or a frustration? If it is a worry, okay. If it is a frustration, okay as well. Now, tell me, on a scale from 1 to 10, how intense is this frustration? Just answer in your mind, no matter where it's at, on a scale from 1 to 10. Don't judge it. Now, breathe in and slowly breathe out. Now, keep thinking about this one thing. I want you to answer me out loud. Can you say yes to that frustration or that worry? Just now, out loud, I want you to say yes to the frustration or the worry. Can you say yes even more? It wants to leave. Let it go. Say yes one more time. The worry or the frustration doesn't help you. You don't need to have it anymore. Where are you now on a scale from 1 to 10? How does the worry or the frustration feel like? If you feel that it is moved somewhat on the scale between 1 and 10, that's great. Just keep at the practice. The intention behind this practice is for you to feel like it's going lower and lower, all the way down to 0. Just saying yes to the worry or the frustration will steadily make you move to the unknown, and yet to a place that you know you already hold inside yourself. When we refuse to accept what is happening in our lives, we are really robbing ourselves from happiness. Surrendering is the key to creating a better life. Surrender does not mean giving up, it means accepting. And to resist your life is to live in a wishful state. Constant wishing can only go on for so long. But this, I do want you to ponder. Will you still be wishing on your deathbed? Thinking singular is selfish. And in order to live the life you are secretly hoping for, one needs to accept. You see, we can't release responsibility by living a life in a state of invaluability. Your life is valuable and intertwined with your relationship to your loved ones. People lose their identities through the loss of change. Change is so often related to negativity, but it is from change to change that we live. So, what will your change be? Acceptance is the key to changing the direction of your life. And God does send signs. He sends signs all the time. He even sends signs in people. And yet we push back on what God wants to show us. We are not only refusing to see, we are dismissing the knowledge of all knowledge. Resisting the love we have available at any given moment is allowing more and more of the same emptiness. Can you see? Now go. Go, my fellow wolf. Bravely, steadily into the unknown. Thank you for listening. Please do subscribe to the platform, leave a comment, and remember to send any suggestions on what you would like me to talk about. Till next time, my fellow wolf, this was Anna, Wolf in the Cabin.